Hello everyone, welcome back to my vlog. And today I want to talk about a very interesting topic, that is our human brain. So, before coming to the topic, I just want make people to understand two major parts in our brain, that is called as hypothalamus and pituitary. These two are the key very important parts in our brain. Hypothalamus is no from that it is the hormones get secreted in hypothalamus, and in turn it reaches the pituitary glands. From the pituitary glands, these hormones are transmitted to all the parts of our body. So the brain plays a very major role in our body, without which no function can be made. For example, our fear, our anger, our happiness, our emotions, and our response to stimulus, etc. All these things, each and everything, how we need to react, how we need to do, what is the next action, what is your next thought, fight, fly, everything is controlled by our brain. So brain is the very important and essential part in our body. So come on, let us understand our human brain. Coming to, as I already told, there are two major parts in our brain known as hypothalamus and pituitary. Neurosecretory cells in hypothalamus, means in hypothalamus the hormones get secreted. These are called as releasing hormones. The hormones get released from hypothalamus and in turn it reaches pituitary glands. From these pituitary glands, these hormones are transmitted to different parts of our body, such as stomach, liver, pancreas, kidney, etc. etc. If we are hunger, then the message goes to the brain. Oh, we are feeling hungry. Without brain, nothing, no function can be made. So if you are hunger, there is a indication that you are feeling hungry. You need to have food. Even when the bladder gets full, your brain gets indication. Your bladder is full, like that. For each and every function in our brain is controlled. In our body is controlled by our human brain. So these releasing hormones in turn it reaches the pituitary glands. From these pituitary glands, the hormones get secreted to different parts of our body. I will show this figure. See this figure. This is the pituitary gland and this is the hypothalamus. Oh. Now let us see one of the major example, like as the newborn baby is born. Let us take one of the example of response to stimulus. You all think it is a natural phenomenon. The baby is born, okay, it knows how to drink milk. The mother secretes the milk. No. There is a lot of circus taking place in the brain and the baby. What happens is that as the baby is born, the hormones are secreted from the hypothalamus. Okay, the message has to be transmitted from the brain. The suckling is very important. That is the stimulus. As the baby suckles, the lot of circus takes place in the brain, and the brain should understand that a baby is born and I need to secrete. It is asking for milk, and so I need to secrete the milk. So that is the message. Each and every part in the body, the message has to be sent to the brain through neurons. that is the nerve cell. Nerve cell, the signals from nerve cell goes to the brain. So let us see this example, what happens in. This is the best example for response to stimuli. What happens is that, see here, as you can see, the baby is born. The baby is born. The suckling is called as the stimulus. And the response is the milk. We will simply say it is what it is a natural phenomenon, but this indication has to go to the brain. From the brain should understand that, yeah, the baby is born. I need to secrete these hormones, like that. So simply it cannot say, it will secrete, but it cannot come out. Due to the stimulus, the baby's suckling is called as the stimulus. That if the baby is suckled, only then the message is transmitted to the brain that, yeah, now it is time has come, I have to secrete the hormones, so milk producing hormones, lactatory hormones, like that. Okay, the new mothers will be suffering so much. So all these things they need to know. Suckling only is the stimulus which can stimulate and trigger our brain to produce milk, or else simply it won't. See, what happens is that this is the hypothalamus, as I told. From these hypothalamus, it sends the impulses to the posterior pituitary gland. Okay, this is the posterior pituitary gland. From these posterior pituitary gland, the indication, the message has been transmitted. Muscles contract and squeeze out milk. So the milk glands in turn produce milk, and the baby can have the milk. So without suckling, the brain cannot understand that I need to produce hormones. So all these things are taking place inside our human brain. We simply think like that, but what and all reactions take place in our body, that God only knows how this nature has created all these things. Next, what else to understand? Let us understand. Okay. There are many glands like endocrine glands, hormones and target cells. Endocrine glands, what they do? They secrete hormones. These hormones enter the bloodstream. Hormones is distributed throughout the body and enter receptor of the target cells. It reaches the receptors of the target cell. Now let us understand the very important thing, that is our nerve cell. This is our nerve cell. See, this is the nerve cell, that is the neuron. Okay, any other cell, the nerve cell is also having a small nucleus, and you can see the different parts. What are these parts? These are called as dendrites. These parts called as dendrites. Nucleus, this is nerve cell, and from these dendrites, what happens? These dendrites, they receive the signal from the neuron. From these dendrites, they receive the signal from the neuron. That what message has been given by the body, like that. If it receives the message, only then it sends the message to the brain, and in turn whatever the hormones need to be secreted, that will take place eventually. Okay. And these are called as the synaptic terminals. See here, synaptic terminals. From here, the signals transmit the signal to other cells. Here, so these are the two important parts. This is from here it transmits, from here it receives. So have a look at this nerve cell. Okay. Now let us understand what are the important things we need to understand our brain. Okay. There are 3 types: cerebrum, cerebellum and medulla oblongata. These 3 parts are there in the brain. Cerebral cortex, hypothalamus, thalamus, like that. Okay. And now let us understand the lobes. I will show you diagrams also so that you can understand it in better. Okay, see, have a look at this way. This is the figure where you can see this part is called as the hypothalamus. This part is called as the hypothalamus. And this is the pituitary gland. These 2 are the major parts in the hypothalamus and pituitary. What happens is that this is cerebral cortex. This is the meninges, skull, corpus callosum, thalamus, pineal glands, midbrain, cerebellum, medulla, and this is the spinal cord. Okay, the spinal cord. Now let us understand another important thing, that is how these things, see, as I already told, this is the brain and this is our body. How the signals from the brain gets transmitted and our entire body receives the signals from the brain. Without the performance of this brain, no function is possible. Okay, brain has to send the message to the body. Only then all the functions can be taken place in the body. Secretion of hormones in any part of the body. So brain plays a very major role. Okay, as I already told, brain, this is called as the cranial and cervical, thoracic, lumbar. Here what happens is that this part is called as the lumbar part. You see here, lumbar part, this part. What happens is that in this lumbar part, if there is any infection in the brain, from this lumbar part, doctors extract the fluid to know whether there is any brain infection and things like that. Everything can be detected from this fluid. In case there is a like a bulging of the brain or any infections, or from this lumbar part, they will extract the fluid, and from that fluid we can get treatment. Okay, initial stages, usually this test is done for the detection of the disease known as meningitis. Okay, in the initial stages, everything can be treated by the neurologist. And this is a sacral part. All these contributes the central nervous system and this part. From here only they can extract the lumbar part. Okay. And now let us know how the pain withdrawal reflects. What happens? A painful stimulus, see if there is an injury, painful stimulus activates a pain receptor in the brain. Okay. Without this brain, if it is inactive, we cannot even sense anything. Our vision also becomes less. We cannot sense anything. Everything is controlled by brain. So it is the very, very, very major part of the body, without which no bodily functions can be made properly. Okay. What happens? A painful stimulus activates the pain receptors. Okay, that is the stimulus. any stimulus, there is response from the brain. Okay, like that. The signals from the stimulus goes to the brain. Only then brain comes to know what hormone is secreting from which part of the body and what I should do, which hormone I should secrete to the hypothalamus. From there, eventually the hormones gets secreted from hypothalamus and then it reaches pituitary. Pituitary in turn transfers to all the parts of the body, whichever part it needs to send the signal. Like it secretes, pituitary gland secretes the hormones. Like that. Signal transmitted by a sensory neuron. What happens? From there, signal transmitted within the spinal cord. And next, the activation of the motor neuron stimulates the appropriate muscle and effector muscle causes withdrawal response. If we touch something hot, suddenly we remove it. If we hear something loud, we suddenly close our ears. That is called controlling. Our brain is controlling. For every response, for every stimulus, there is a response from the brain. So this is the major thing and the very basic thing that people should understand. So I thought I should make this video so that people know all these basic things. I believe in sharing is caring. Okay then, take care and bye-bye.